Ladies and gentlemen, would you please rise for the playing of
the Sibling Rivalry Baseball Podcast
with your host, the 2023 IBWAA Podcast Host of the Year, Jana, and her big brother, Jeff. Whether you like it or not, Sibling Rivalry Baseball Podcast is back for season number
6.
Yes. High 6 years old.
Yes.
In podcasting world.
Yes.
Welcome back. And of course, as always, we're going to talk about baseball, share our love of our favorite game. And then every week you can just join us to walk through baseball, talk about, of course, Dodgers and Angels, and then around the league. And, whatever happens to be the big topic du jour, which we definitely have one. I don't think this was the topic I expected. The offseason was kind of a contentious one. There was a lot of talk, obviously, about the Dodgers. We can talk about that coming up. A lot of talk in Yankee land or in New York, because Juan Soto went from one part of town, from one borough,
right,
to a different borough. And the Yankee fans won't say his name. They call him Snake or the Snake. In a post by Aaron Judge on social media about highlights of the season, included all of his teammates but Juan Soto. And Juan Soto himself, there was a song, I guess, that said something about being with the Yankees, him and Judge and all that. He wouldn't even listen to it. He was in a club. They started to play it. He told him to turn it off. He didn't want to hear it. So he was mad at the Yankees because they didn't really want to give in to everything that the Mets were willing to give in to. So we could talk more about that as we go. And, of course, the one thing that we will talk about coming up here in just a few minutes is, or around baseball, I guess, is when we'll talk about it, has to do with the Yankees as well. But it could be proliferating from there. So opening day has come and gone. And some surprises, some not surprises, as we're about a week into the season. Oh, and by the way, Jana's back this season as well.
I am here, and I'm ready for this season. We gave ourselves a contract extension, and we are in season 6. Because nobody else was giving us a contract extension. We had to give it to ourselves. I don't know what that will include, but
so bunch of stuff to talk about. Let's start off with the Dodgers this week to start off the season, especially since they started the season earlier than everybody else.
It's time for Dodger baseball.
Yeah, they started in Japan versus the Cubs. And I saw this, I don't know if he was just being snarky or thought he was being funny, but I saw a guy that's like, opening day is an American thing, it's a hallmark of America. Why did they have opening day in Japan? So I'm like, really? But it was opening day because those games count. But the true opening day was, last on
March 28th. Yes.
Right.
Nobody said, oh, it's opening day. I think a couple people said it, but it was like the first real games.
Yeah.
They didn't, there was not pomp and circumstance of opening day here until the actual opening day.
Right. I mean, because
domestic opening day.
Domestic. Not international.
Right.
Yeah. So the Dodgers opened up their season in Japan, like I said, versus the Cubs, swept the Cubs, and had a great time in Japan. And I loved how when they are constantly singing, beating the drum. Well, and that's continuing like when the Japanese teams play. Well, even when a batter steps into the batter's box, that continues. But when it was the Cubs and Dodgers playing, they adhered to the rules. When they step in the batter's box, the music is off, which I was like, why? But when Shohei got into the batter's box, it was silent. You could hear
and even though he was on the visiting side, which from what I understand, when the visitors are up to bat, they can be louder.
Yeah.
And will be louder. But when the home team's up, they're not as. But with Shohei, it was like you were in a theater.
Yes. It was very, very quiet.
Silence your phones.
That's right. Well, all of the people had their phones out.
Silence yourselves.
Uh-huh. Yeah. So I think as a neat experience, there were 5 Japanese players, 3 from the Dodgers, 2 from the Cubs that were there. And I think it was a fun series. But official opening day was versus the Detroit Tigers. Jack Flaherty, of course, was there, who's now pitching back with his old team, the Tigers, before coming to the Dodgers. And he was able to get his World Series ring.
Right.
So that
I was
cool.
wondering about that, if they did it on purpose the next night when he was going to start.
Yeah, I thought that was really cool. He got a jersey. They have the special championship World Series jerseys with the Dodgers in gold. The lettering is in gold. And he got one with his number 0 on it and had a great standing ovation from the crowd. I know for one, I would have loved to have seen Jack Flaherty back with the Dodgers. And I think maybe at some point he'll make his way back. But I don't know.
Well, I mean, the deal was in the offseason that Andrew Friedman said, I don't want to have to make trades at the deadline.
Yeah.
That's why he tried to sign everybody he could early.
Mm-hmm.
And then obviously if he has to, he has to. But yeah, I'd be good with Jack Flaherty. And I heard Jack on the radio and he said he enjoyed his time over there. He went into the clubhouse, saw the new clubhouse and all that, and got to spend time. He said, and he was connected with his teammates, his former teammates over the winter. And so he really had a good time. And, he went back to someplace he knew. They asked him to come back, but he sat for a while.
Yeah, he did.
So, and before we go too much farther there, I just want to know why the Hanshin Tigers aren't in MLB now, taking the place of the White Sox, or because they beat both the Cubs and the Dodgers.
They did. I actually heard that the Dodgers had signed the entire team.
Right. to a big, long, deferred contract.
Yes, it was huge. The likes that no one has ever seen before.
Huge. One cool thing with going back to the Japanese series is the pitchers. I saw Tyler Glasnow talking to the Japanese pitchers, and they were looking at how they grip the ball and how they throw things, and it just shows how baseball is universal. It's like right.
You don't really need, if you can speak the language of baseball, you're good.
All right.
So
they take on the Tigers.
The Tigers. The Taggers, as Dad used to call them.
A team that finished the year surprisingly good.
Yeah.
Made their way into the playoffs. They did well in the playoffs. And but met up with the 2-0 Dodgers. Mm-hmm. And we got to see Blake Snell for the first time in a Dodgers uniform.
Yeah, and he didn't look too bad on the mound, and we'll see a pattern with the Dodger pitchers. He pitched 5 innings. The biggest thing for him was the 4 walks. So only had 2 strikeouts, gave up 2 runs and 5 hits, but not bad. I mean, it wasn't a bad outing, but I think I think he maybe was not as happy with it.
No, I wasn't that happy with it. I thought,
Right.
if you're going to come in here and you're a, Cy Young Award winner and we paid the money to get you in here, and, it's good to have him, but
Yeah.
I wanted like a flawless start.
Flawless. Yes.
I wanted, I didn't want to see 4 runs against him. And the one thing he did though, is if he pitches like he did in that first game, every time he pitches is going to be an exciting game because he puts people on base almost as if a challenge. I'm going to let people get on base and then I'm going to get out of it.
Right.
He's like, chain me up, put me into the box, and then drop the box in water. And I'm going to Houdini my way out of this.
That's true. Yeah.
And so, we'll see how that goes as the season goes. But it was like, but the Dodgers, had their way with Tarek Skubal as well.
They did.
So they end up walking away and starting the season on a roll.
On a roll.
Well, and at that point, they're not 1-0, but 3-0.
3-0. And in that game, Shohei had a home run. Tommy Edmond and Teoscar Hernandez had a home run. Next night, Yoshinobu Yamamoto, 10 strikeouts. 10. Looked really good. Again, 5 innings, did give up 2 home runs, but I think that's a career high. 10 strikeouts for him. Yeah. That game went 10 innings, and Mookie Betts hit a walk-off home run. Dodgers win this game 8-5.
Not only did he hit a walk-off home run, but he tied the game a couple of innings earlier in the 8th. Right. He is like one of only a handful of players to ever have 2 go-ahead home runs. Right. After the 8th inning.
Yeah. Yeah, he's Mookie Betts. Everybody was really worried about.
He only weighed like 107 pounds or something like that.
I don't
when
even
he
know
hit those home runs.
Yeah, how did he even swing the bat?
That probably weighed more than he did at that
probably point. Did. But it was good to see a healthy Mookie Betts. Now this last game, the Dodgers win this game 7-3. But Sasaki only pitches. This is his debut. Roki Sasaki, signed by the Dodgers, 23 years old, is pulled after an inning and 2/3.
And what is interesting for me was that I was like, I thought the game started a little later. And so when I tuned in, I thought, that's not Roki Sasaki.
He's changed.
Wait, who is that? Who is Jack Dreyer?
Right.
Why is he pitching? Where's Roki? And then I looked it up, and sure enough, and honestly, there's other pitchers who have started that bad, but they just probably didn't want that to get in his head. So
and I think it was an early pull. Just to give you the stat, like I said, an inning and 2/3, 3 hits, 2 runs, 4 walks, and 2 strikeouts. And I think you're right. Was that did they pull him too soon? I don't know. I don't think so, but I think you're right. You don't want that kind of outing to get in your head and affect your next out. He's going to start. He'll have another start. It's not like there was something. I haven't heard anything like they saw something mechanical. I don't know if you've heard that, but
no.
He was just off. And I think too that he, I think there's got to be nerves for him.
Well, even in the game he pitched versus the Cubs in the Tokyo Dome, he went 3 innings and he walked 5.
Yeah.
Struck out 3, gave up a hit, gave up a run. So, it wasn't, but really over 3 innings. So he comes back, he pitches at Dodger Stadium. So if he wasn't, that wasn't great. He looked okay. He looked better, but now that they mean something, he probably is getting that pitching the first time at Dodger Stadium. It's that very well, may have rattled him a little bit. But it wasn't like his first outing was anything spectacular. And he
No.
is a rookie. He's getting paid, minimal salary.
Hmm.
It's not like he is got paid like Yoshi did.
Right. I think one of the things that was, and this always happens in all sports, but this happened with him. He didn't do great, and there were some fans that were like, "We're sticking with him. We support him." And then there's others that are like, "I can't believe that they signed him, and he's horrible." And then they showed him in the dugout, and he looked like he's near tears or in tears. He is upset, obviously, with himself and his performance. And then you have Jonathan Lucroy, who was a catcher, in the MLB
Right.
for 12 years.
And an
Who has-
angel at one time.
And an angel at one time, yep. Who has, doesn't have anything better to do, that said, yeah, he's soft. Okay. What?
He's a rookie. I know. Here's the problem. High expectations.
Yes. Hi.
He's never, he didn't, he pitched in spring training,
Mm-hmm.
but he is a first-time major leaguer. He may very well end up having to go down at some point this season if things don't turn around. He could have, potentially started.
Well, and I thought that was a possibility in spring training. I mean, there were some spring training starts where it's like, oh, he doesn't look, he looked good. And then there were some that's like, that's not so great. So he may need that at some point. Now we'll see. He will have another start coming up. So we'll see how it goes.
They got to give him some time, give him some chances.
Give him a runway.
Give him a runway. Exactly. That last one kind of turned into a bullpen game, really, because he went so short. And then, but we did see, good outing. I mean, Jack Dreyer, who I'd not seen before, pitched pretty well. Kasparius, who we've seen a little bit last season. And then Luis Garcia was really the only other pitcher that had any issues, gave up a run as well. But Kirby Yates made his, got in there pitching, saw Tanner Scott in one of the earlier games as well. So an old Dodger favorite, Kenta Maeda, came out of the pen for the Tigers in that and gave up a couple of runs to his old teammates.
Yeah.
And but the Dodgers look good. Like I said, you had Freddie Freeman with a home run, Will Smith with a home run, and Tommy Edman with another home run, which gave him 3 on the season.
Yeah.
So overall, pretty good start to the season, starting it off at 5-0, and of course, people are already starting to rumble, but they're thinking, hey, one of the early season series that we circled when we saw the 2025 schedule come out is about to happen. And oddly, it never happens. In fact, on the Saturday night game, Oral Hershiser was lamenting about the whole time he was in Major League Baseball, from the minors and the fall league and the instructional league. He never got a Sunday off, ever.
Never.
But the Dodgers start the season off with 3 games and then a Sunday off.
Yeah.
Instead of doing play Thursday, off Friday, then play Saturday and Sunday, they just let them play 3 straight, have Sunday off, and then they waited for a team that was supposed to be or could still be at the top of the NL East, depending on how everything goes. But right now they're not looking like it, but they come to the Ravine, and it's the Atlanta Braves.
They started their opening day down in San Diego and were 0-3 when they got to Dodger Stadium.
So you're thinking, it's the beginning of the season, and chances are things are going to slow down a little bit here. And the Dodgers have been playing for a bit, so they got that one day off, and now here they come. So when the Braves, they'll pick it up. They've got a good team. They've got They don't have the pitching that they used to, but they're good down there at developing pitching.
Yeah.
So they show up. Some of the regular guys: Michael Harris II, Austin Riley, Matt Olson, Marcell Ozuna, Ozzie Albies, and then Orlando Arcia. All those guys were our stars a couple seasons ago.
Yeah. They were all
No
there.
Acuna Jr. yet,
Right.
but he'll work his way back in. But I didn't know who the guy that was starting, Grant Holmes. Don't know who he was.
Yeah.
Jesse Chavez and then Raisel Iglesias were the only two names that pitched for the Braves on that Monday to start things off. Tyler Glasnow, he looked pretty good.
He did look good.
Good start.
I think 5 innings, and you see a pattern here. So Snell went 5, Yamamoto went 5, Glasnow went 5. He gave up 2 hits, didn't give up any runs, did have 8 strikeouts, 3 walks, but he looked really good, and especially because we didn't see him at the end of the season. I think he got shut down like in September.
Yep.
About that, and that was it. So mechanically, he said he's doing some different things, with his body mechanically. And I guess, he's tall, so that's to me
Like 6'7", 6'8".
Yeah, coming off the mound. So doing something different, protecting his elbow, hopefully. Kike had a home run in this game. Teoscar, the Hernandez brothers, both had home runs. And the Dodgers win this game 6-1. And they joined the 1985 Tigers in being 6-0. So the Tigers in 1984 won the World Series, and they started off in 6-0 in 1985.
I have an interesting stat in Around Baseball.
Okay.
That kind of talks about something from the same time frame.
Awesome.
So, okay, one game, Braves are the Braves, right? We go to game 2.
And the
second
Braves,
verse, same as the first.
That's right. The Braves are the Braves. But this one, I think, is an emotional game for Dustin May, who took the mound. I think the last time he took the mound was 2023.
Yeah, about right. Yeah.
And his family, all of his family was in attendance. Again, he goes 5 innings, but has 6 strikeouts, which is huge for him because he had Tommy John surgery, his first. He comes back. He looked good. This is 2023. And then it was, I don't even know how many starts, not very many. And he immediately feels something in that same area, has a second Tommy John surgery. And then not only that, has to have he got a torn esophagus.
Yeah.
And
salad. See, no good things can come from eating salad.
That's right. You never eat
Piece of lettuce got in there, and I guess it just hit the right way. He needs to chew better. I don't know.
It's crazy that everything that he's gone through. So it was really good to see Code Red on the mound. And
not a Code Red response to him because he's torn his esophagus.
Well, I'm sure
him
right
being
now
Code
him
Red.
being Code Red, that's his nickname. So yeah, Dustin May returns. Mookie made up for his error because it was his first error at shortstop. It's the one run that the Braves got, and it was because of the error by Mookie Betts. But what does Mookie do? Hits a home run.
Makes up for it. Well, what's interesting is when I tuned into the game.
And it's a go-ahead home run.
When I tuned in, another go-ahead.
Yes.
When I tuned into the game, it was 1-0 at that point. I had missed the error. And the Dodgers hitters were having a hard time with Chris Sale.
Yeah, which I think is expected. Chris Sale has always been good. But
Chris Sale finally, in the 6th inning, I think it was, is when the wheels came off of his bus.
Mhm.
And that's when the Dodgers are able to go up by 2, scoring 3 runs in that inning. That was a 2-run homer, as you just mentioned, by Mookie. Shohei had singled the batter before, and then Tommy Edman got on base. He singled, and then that run actually goes to Chris Sale as well, but they had pulled him out when Will Smith singles to score Tommy Edman, and that's all the Dodgers would need to finish up the second game of this series, and we'll have we can finish up about that next week, since we don't know the final as of time of recording. Not even started. Actually, it should be starting here pretty soon.
Yeah, it's like maybe 2 minutes or something. Who knows?
So here's an interesting thing with the Dodgers that I was surprised to hear. I was listening on opening day, domestic opening day for the Dodgers, and Rick Monday had an interesting stat.
As he often does.
This year is the 68th year the Dodgers have been in Los Angeles, which means that next year the Dodgers are truly Los Angeles' team, because the Dodgers spent 68 years in Brooklyn.
Oh.
So it's 68. So when they start next season, Los Angeles would have been home to the Dodgers longer than Brooklyn was.
Yeah.
So this is that split. See, 68 years there. This is the 68th year here in LA. So I thought that was kind of a neat little stat there.
Yeah.
And Dodgers look pretty good to start, which everybody would expect. But of course, now here come all the hate out again.
Well, did they ever leave?
No, but they were distracted, and we'll talk about why they were distracted.
That's true.
And when we get to around baseball, but they've got. I think that the other big controversy now with the Dodgers. So everybody's like, of course, they're 7-0. They've got to. I think they've got to win 6 more to be off to the best start ever. And I blank on who it was. I just saw that who started out like 13-0 or something like that. And so the Dodgers have to do that to get there. But they've tied with the 7-0 mark the 1933 Yankees for best starts in the title defense. And there's a couple other teams too, but that's the thing. And then it's like, well, somebody said, oh yeah, they're playing paper ball, and we're not talking about on paper. We're talking about cash.
Right.
That kind of, it's like, you know what? They got guys who are making big money because they've earned it, and they continue to earn it. Tell me that Shohei didn't come in last year and earn his $2 million last year.
I think he earned that and then some, and he's making money for the Dodgers, because look at how many sponsorships these not the sponsorships he has that are coming into for the Dodgers, for the Dodgers themselves.
And everywhere in Major League Baseball.
Right.
Because teams that couldn't get in with the Dodgers are finding times to advertise when the Dodgers are in town at whatever stadium they're going to play in.
Right.
So it's a boon for MLB in general. And to listen to the stories that these guys, the Dodger players were talking about in Japan, they said he is everywhere. You couldn't go anywhere without seeing his face.
Yeah. I watched many video, of them, and Blake Snell, I think, is it looks kind of like a convenience store or in a something, store. Mm-hmm. And he's looking at something and he looks up and there's Shohei. Then the Dodgers do a video of Blake Snell, Tyler Glasnow trying Japanese snacks. I think at least 2 of the snacks had Shohei's picture on
Face
it.
on the
Yes.
snack. I'm surprised they don't have them. You know how like you've got pasta that has made into little shapes or
Oh,
cereal. You know, I know we have some Cheerios that are in hearts, and I know that's
Yeah.
not much, but I'm surprised there's not like the Shohei noodle with his face.
Yes. That would,
You know, something like that. But they said he's on billboards, he's on the sides of trains and buses, and
everywhere.
everywhere you go, you put your beverage down on a coaster, you're sitting it on Shohei.
Exactly.
And like you said, they had we didn't mention them, but the five players you had: Shohei, Yoshi, Roki, and then Mike Imanata.
Right, the second.
And then Seiya Suzuki.
Right. Yes.
So they were all there. There's pictures of all 5 of them together, and it sounded like it was a good time. The Dodgers now will they've got the one more game, and then they hit the road.
They hit the road.
And
the first road trip.
This is where we're going to get into some more, potentially more drama.
Yes.
This isn't just you know, an issue, and it's not even about it's not even just like all the haters that hate them. If they're on one side of the political side, they're going to be like, fine, or they're going to be mad about it. The other side, I still hate them, but good for them that they went to go to the White House.
Right. Now they're going to start their season, or their road trip in Philadelphia. That'll be the weekend series. And then they do go to Washington to play the Nationals, and they will be visiting the White House. And of course, we've already heard controversy there because Stan Katzman came out and said, as a team, we decided this was a big honor and that we're going to the White House. But on the side, you're hearing Mookie Betts doesn't know if he's going to go.
He didn't go when he was with the Red Sox in the first term, because it's not about going to the White House. You know, all of them are like, whoa, cool, go to the White House. But and Stan Katzman said it's not political, but if you, and we can post the link to it, Dylan Hernandez from the LA Times wrote a article about this, condemning them, saying the White House's, what's going on, or the people and the things that come out of the White House are complete opposite of the team of Jackie Robinson. And he takes it from that stand that this is a group, talking of Trump and his stuff. And I don't want to get into that part of it, but that's where it is are people going to go? Dave Roberts, who didn't go last time, they were invited before. And the last time they went to Biden, but they said if they won before, they weren't going to go during Trump's first administration. Dave didn't want to go. Mookie wouldn't have gone. But now a lot of them are saying Dave and Shohei are both going, but I don't think Shohei cares one way or the other, because he doesn't have a say really. He can't vote. He just, to him, that's part of winning.
Yeah. I get the political, if you don't agree with the person in the White House, and the policies of that administration. So I think that's where Stan Katzman was like, as a team. So I think it's perfectly fine for any sports team to, if they're invited, to accept that invitation. But it also should be left up to the players and those coaches to say, I don't feel comfortable. I don't want to go. And they don't go.
Which they could.
Right. And
I think that's still the thing. Mookie's like, I don't know. And they said, we know Blake Trinan be more than happy.
He'll be there.
He's going to be excited about that.
Yeah.
But, for me, it's like, okay, I like all these Dodgers except for I don't like Blake Trinan because he's going, and
Yeah.
that, like I said, all the people who are against them going are the same people who are probably complaining about them spending so much money or
Right.
having such a great team. And it's like some people are like, after the 26th season, we're going to see a lockout, and they better put and it's time. They need a whatchamacallit,
Oh,
why can't I remember what that is? Did you just forget too?
yes.
My amnesia is going, but why in the world? Anyway, a ceiling until I can remember what it is. But even then, if you can only spend so much money, the Dodgers will spend to the max, and the Pittsburgh Pirates are still not going to spend any money. So it doesn't matter if there is a, my God, how did this happen?
I don't know.
Completely forgot. I mean, they've got one salary cap.
Salary cap. Yes.
In there. You know what made me think of it? I thought about the NFL, and then it popped in my head. But anyway, so yeah. All right. So the Dodgers have that. Then they go to Philly, and then they go to Washington D.C.
Go to Washington.
And once that's done, then they can put it all behind them.
Yeah.
Who goes, who doesn't go, that's up to them. If going to the White House, I agree that.
I mean, I think you would be
on the one side that
yeah.
going to the White House is always been a thing. When you win a championship, you get invited.
Right, you get invited, and I don't have an issue with who. There have been a lot of administrations. I do not, that there in all administrations there are things that are not you don't agree with, but I don't think it matters who's in the White House. If you're invited, if you want to go, you go, and you accept that invitation. And it is, like you said, it's a nice little ceremony. They have some laughs, and you're done.
And if you're lucky, like when Forrest Gump got to go to the White House, he drank a lot of Dr. Peppers. So you get that option.
You get that option. That's true. And that'd be awesome. I would go if I got a lot of Dr. Pepper.
Oh, they got all this Dr. Pepper? Yeah, okay.
But I think sometimes things are blown up, and I think you would lead a really sad life if you were, I'm not going to listen to that. I'm going to go watch that movie, or I'm not going to listen to that band or whoever because you don't agree with.
Well, I don't think I'm going to go see Snow White because I'm having a hard time trying to figure out how Gal Gadot would be. I mean, nothing against the girl playing Snow White, but how Gal Gadot could be jealous of her beauty. Have you seen Gal Gadot?
I know, right?
I don't see.
No,
that.
I mean, right. And there's certain things like that's why you have your free will to say, I don't want to go to that movie. I don't want to go to the White House. I don't want to eat that food. That's whatever.
I don't want to listen to Nickelback.
Whatever. Just don't. I want to tell you that if I can get into my phone, that it was the 1982 Braves and the okay, in MLB's, let me start over. In MLB's modern era, the Tampa Bay Rays, the 2023 Tampa Bay Rays, and the Milwaukee Brewers, 1987, and Atlanta Braves, the 1982 teams, they are the only teams to start a season 13-0. And this is crazy. That was only 2 years ago, and I totally forgot that Tampa Bay had gone 13-0.
Well, they're easy to forget.
Right.
They just are. I mean, they have good teams, but they're just right there, and you just don't
Right,
ever,
they're
you don't
just-
know who the players are for the most part. I mean, what's his name? Wilmer Flores, is that his name?
Right.
He's probably the
No,
most famous.
Is it Wilmer Flores? No, he's
No, Wilmer
that's not
Flores
him.
played
He's
for a different team. His name's Wilmer. I'm forgetting everything today. But he's probably the most famous player because he's in trouble in his home country. You know, and that's probably what makes him. Yeah, it's not. Wilmer Flores was a different player, played for I think the Cardinals and a few other teams. Anyway, so the Atlanta Braves have a better chance right now. They're not going to go 13-0, but they could go 0-13, depending on how the rest of their
Wander. Not even Wilmer.
Wander. I didn't even Wilmer. It started with a
Franco.
W.
Yes. you were
Wander
close.
Flores.
Franco. So you had the W
I had
and
the
the F.
initials right. I
Yes.
just didn't have the names right. How lame am
Right.
I? Don't
Yes,
answer.
Wander Franco. Yeah. So so we'll see. We'll be able to talk about the visit and we can see how it
So-
goes.
The Braves are moving on to see if they can get a win playing Miami, and Miami has actually been winning games to start the season,
Yeah.
as have the team we're going to talk about next.
Nuh-uh. Seriously? The team
Maybe.
we're talking about next? Wow. Now, isn't that team embroiled in a trade with the Braves?
Maybe. We'll talk about that in just a second. All right, the Angels start on the road this season, and here we are thinking. Actually, if you read Angels Twitter, the season's already over before we ever start.
The season was over before they got to spring training.
Oh yeah, and a
I'm-
lot of that was because there was no earth-shattering moves. There was nothing that made the Angels started out the gate fast. World
Right.
Series is over. We talked about it last season. World Series is over. They're already trading Jorge Soler. All these players, and they even went out right before the end of spring training and got Ian Anderson. They traded Jose Suarez, who most of Angels Twitter wanted to see go. So they start off the season with what turned out to be an underwhelming offseason, which it normally is, especially after the way they started. They didn't bring a lot of great guys in, but it was like a lot of talk. And then for most of it is like, well, what's going to happen? Where's Mike Trout going to play? What about Anthony Rendon? Will these guys be back and be solid? Well, we were spared not the drama so much, but the surprise as to when Anthony Rendon was going to be injured and out for most of the season. At the beginning of the season, before we ever went to spring training, we found out he had a hip issue. That's not that he's been rehabbing, but had a setback. And as Ron Washington said, not doing too good. And he's out for the season.
Yeah.
So it was like, good, let's just get it out of the way now.
Right. You don't have him start and it's, see how he does. And then he has a hip injury anyway.
Right. So good. We don't have to worry about him. We don't even have to think about him at any part in the season. He's out for the season.
Ever.
So, good. And then he has one more season left on his contract. I would think they should just let him go. I think there's some things they got to do for the club. So by letting him stay to the end of the season instead of just getting rid of him now, I think works more in their favor. And then there's just one more year that they've got to pay out. They just let him go and let him do what he's going to do.
Yeah.
If he was a nice guy, if he was such the great guy like they say he is, he would just say, I'm going to retire.
Yeah.
And be done with it and say, you know what, give me half of what's left over and I'm done. or whatever.
Right.
Pay me for this year, and then I'm done. He's made $35 million a year just about every season, give or
Doing
take.
nothing.
And he's not done anything. He spent time at home with his family. So good for him if that's the case, but he needs to just go. Anyway, so the Angels start off in Chicago. They were on the in the baddest part of town, and you're thinking they're playing the team that had the worst record last year. But do you remember, because the White Sox were their next to last series last season, what happened in on the South Side in that last one? Do you remember?
Do I remember?
You hop in the way back bullpen cart.
I know.
Here's a team that's on their way to 121 loss season.
But didn't they win?
They swept
That's right.
the Angels to help the Angels get closer to their all-time record for losses in a season of 99.
Yeah, helping each other out.
Well, they were trying to keep the White Sox from breaking a record while the White
Right.
Sox were helping them break a record.
Yeah.
So they go there. So a lot of people are like, hey, at least we're starting with the White Sox. Yusei Kikuchi on the mound for the very first game, and he's the opening day starter. And while he didn't look bad, I didn't really feel great about his outings.
Yeah.
Maybe that's just me. I don't know. I just, there was just something there. So he didn't, like I said, didn't look bad. The Angels and the White Sox over the 3-game series played tough. 2 of the games were 1-run games.
Yeah.
But something we'll see, the Angels have played 6 games so far, and we'll talk about the second series when we get to that one, and all 3 games. But it's interesting because the first game and the last game were kind of bookended by similar situation as far as how things turned out.
Yeah.
So the first game out, the White Sox score 3 on Kikuchi in the second inning, and then they're shut down for a while. Kikuchi would go like 6 total innings. So quality start. Get to 6 innings or more. Quality start.
Yeah.
But he gives up 3 runs, and then it's Ryan Johnson. And here's where things fell apart there. And this isn't, I mean, Ryan Johnson had a tough time, but I blame this one on Ron Washington. Ryan Johnson came in, pitched 1 2/3 inning. His first inning, he came in and 3 up, 3 down. And I think, he struck out one of them. But when they brought him in for the second inning, which I don't get why they did that. This is opening day. They're off the next day.
Yeah. Use
And
your
he
bullpen.
gets smacked hard.
Yeah.
And he ends
5
up giving up, and they end up scoring 8 runs. They had the 3, scored 5 in the 8th, and it was just it was Andrew Benintendi with a home run off of him, Lennon Sosa with a home run. These guys they put people on base and then brought them home. And it was like, oh. And then, of course, everybody was fired up because after that, they brought in their first position player of the season to close it out. And Nicky Lopez, who had just showed up, to the team, hadn't played anything. I don't think he even played in spring training games with them.
Yeah, I don't think so.
And they put him out there. And, of course, everybody's losing their mind. We're already pitching position players.
Yeah.
And
It's
I was
crazy.
like, and I get to, it was like, nobody's going to play tomorrow. So let somebody come in and pitch a couple of innings. But on the other side, I thought, you know what? Why let them come into a game where you've got younger guys in the bullpen Who are you going to bring in? You going to bring in Kenley? No. Kenley Jansen doesn't pitch in games like that unless there's no other choice. And so let him come in and pitch and save all the arms. And that way they don't have to come in and deal with failure right off the bat.
Yeah. I mean, they're getting beat, 8-1. But the Angels lost on opening day for the 11th time.
Of the last 12.
The last 12 years. That's crazy. And then the White Sox have this big win, and they are like, we have turned the page. The tide has turned.
This was the first time since I think they said since like 2022 or 2023 that the White Sox were over 500. They haven't been over 500 in a couple of seasons.
Yeah, I kind of snickered, but that's not very nice to snicker.
Snickers bar, maybe. I don't know.
I don't know.
The only reason they got a run because they were being blanked until Logan O'Hoppe, who didn't hit a single home run in all of spring training, in the top of the ninth, sends one
He's
out of the
saving
park.
it for when it counts.
Right. I was fine with that. Now, something that I noticed in a couple of games that I've seen here, and mostly in St. Louis, those are the ones I watch the most of. He's got, for as good as he is and as good as he can become, I'm hoping he learns a lot from Travis d'Arnaud because he's made some bad plays, not heads up plays.
Yeah.
Little bunt, and he runs out to grab it, and by the time he turns around, the runner's touching first, and he threw it anyway. And there were guys on base. In that game, it wouldn't have mattered by the way things worked out, but still, don't take the chance to throw it away. You got to get your head in the game a little bit more.
Right.
The other thing was, and this one I heard on the radio, about where a pitch is, they were saying it should have been a strike, but he tried to frame it and pull it back in. They said sometimes you just got to hold it where the strike is because the umpire then thinks you're trying to get away with something. And if he didn't catch where it was automatically and then you move it real quick, he's not going to give you the call. So little things like that, but he's still doing well. And with Travis d'Arnaud, hopefully he'll learn some more because Travis has said he wants to really help him out.
Good.
So the Angels, and so this is one game you figure, oh man, how's this going to go? The next game comes up. It's a much better game.
And what about Jose?
Another quality start.
7
Jose
innings.
Soriano pitched well. He did. How long did he go? He was Soriano pitched 7 innings.
Yes.
Gave up 2 hits, struck out 5, and then what could look like the future of the season here, Ben Joyce with Kenley closing.
Yeah.
Set up and closing.
Yeah, and Kenley gets his first save.
First save as an Angel for sure.
That's right.
And the other guy that was interesting to hear, who didn't pitch last year for the White Sox, a former Angel draft pick, played with Cleveland, played with the Dregs. Mike Clevenger is coming out of the bullpen.
Wow. And
Sox.
I kind of forgot about Mike Clevenger.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because he had been injured, and I think he was on the IL for a long time. And
Yeah, he didn't pitch last year at all.
yeah.
So he's out there. He pitched okay. He did give up a run, but overall, who knows what's going to happen with him as time goes. But Miguel Vargas, former Dodger, hitting leadoff for the Sox, playing third base.
Yeah.
And it'll be interesting to see Matt Dice, former Angel, behind the plate there. So it'll be interesting to see how both these teams end up. I haven't looked to see what the White Sox, what their where they are in the standings right now, what their record is after that start. Actually, they're at the top of the AL Central, tied with Cleveland and Detroit at 2-4. Actually, it's a 5-way tie. They're all 2-4.
They're all 2-4.
Which is something because Minnesota started off the season 0-4. So they've won their last couple of games. And so the Sox, we'll see what happens. You know, what the only place they can go, really, when you think about it, is up based off of what they did last year. Right. However, they still could lose more than 121 games if the world falls apart for them.
They could.
They could. I don't think it'll happen, but they could.
Yeah.
The Angels, though, end up saving that series. Everybody thought it was all over with. I'm like, hey, number one, it's too early to think it's all over with. And it's also too early to think that they've turned things around in this season, because they come out the gate 2-1 and they head to St. Louis, another team that had 90 plus losses last season. 91, they didn't look good. 3 games with the Angels, and the most fans that showed up, 22,000, and that was on the Monday night game.
Yeah, but did we talk about Jack Kachanowicz in the 3rd game?
Oh, Kahanowicz. No.
Oh, Kahanowicz. Okay.
I forgot all about moving. I just moved on. And once again, another quality start.
Yeah, 6 innings.
And he got, another 1-run game. So the Angels jump out to a 2-0 lead, but let the Sox, Kahanowicz's only problem was he gave them 2 runs to let them tie it up in the first inning. But 6 runs, 4 strikeouts, no walks. Just gave up those 2 runs, and then the bullpen was able to come in and shut them down. And it was in the 8th inning that the Angels were able to score the winning run, thanks to the guy that we really need to be talking about for driving the Angels, Kyron Paris. And here's a guy. This is what Kyron has done so far, is what we thought Joe Adele was going to come out and do.
Yeah.
And didn't.
And hasn't. Yes.
Kyron Paris woke up on Sunday morning. It was his dad's birthday. And he said, today'd be a good day to hit a home run.
Happy birthday, Dad. And
that's what he did. He hit a home run. That became the game winner. And it wouldn't be the only time he was a hero in these first 6 games. And that's he's been playing well. Was playing out in center field, and took over for Joe Adele. Joe Adele had it was either a quad or hip tightness, so he sat down for a couple of days. And Kyron Paris has been playing out there, and he can play just about anywhere. He started this game. He had come in for him the game before. And then, like I said, Kahanowicz, another good one. Zephyr John pitched pretty well, as did Ben Joyce. Brock Burke, who came from the Rangers. And then, of course, Kenley.
Brock Burke reporting.
Brock Burke.
That's
all right. So the Angels leave Chicago, head to St. Louis, where it's cold.
Yes.
In fact, when they were in that last game in Chicago, not only was it a 1-1 game, it was a 5+ inning game, thanks to this crazy rainstorm that the sod master saved. He's the head groundskeeper, and I can't remember his name. The head groundskeeper at Rate Field.
Rate Field, yes.
It's no longer guaranteed Rate Field.
No, just Rate Field.
It's Rate Field.
And he's been there a long time.
Like 30 years.
Yeah. So.
And he's probably the only thing guaranteed there, because nothing else is guaranteed. But all of a sudden, we can't guarantee anything here on the south side. So
No.
we're just right field.
Yeah.
So they go to St. Louis, where St. Louis sees the lowest crowds, the smallest crowds they've ever seen in the history of New Busch Stadium.
Yeah.
And with the day game drawing right around 20,000, 22 on the first night, 21 the second night, and 20 for the day game. It's cold. It's a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. You're paying a team that lost 99 games, has one real superstar,
And
in
I don't
Mike
know.
Trout.
Right. And I like Mike Trout, but is he really selling like, the Angels are in town, I got to go see Mike Trout?
No.
He's not.
The Angels, of course, are missing Zach Neto, who is rehabbing, but seems to be ahead of things.
Yeah.
They've got Kyron Paris has been doing well. Taylor Ward's not been too bad. So that's just, and they've been getting quality starts.
Mm-hmm.
So they go to St. Louis. Game number 1 is another barn burner. It's a Zennings game, and it is the third one-run game in a row. And keep that in mind, in a row.
In a row.
All right. So the Angels have to come back to win this game in the 10th, and who helped them get where they needed to be? Well, in the 7th, Kyron Paris. It's a triple.
Yeah.
And Luis Rengifo scores, and then we get to the top of the 10th. This time, it's a guy that a lot of people are having issues with, but he is able to. He hits into a fielder's choice, which scores a run, and that is Nolan Shanuel. Kyron Paris draws a walk to help with that, and Rengifo scores in that one as well. And then Mike Trout hits into a double play, but Kyron Paris scores.
Yeah.
And they were able to take that. Ryan Johnson pitches in the bottom of the 10th and pitches well, with the exception of giving up a single, and then what's his name, Pages, the catcher for St. Louis. I can't remember. It's for Pedro Pages.
Yes.
Hits a sacrifice fly and able to move. The runner was able to move over prior to that, and then was able to score on a Victor Scott fly ball. And then Mason Wynn strikes out, and we have another good game, another quality start.
Yeah.
No, this was not a quality start.
Oh,
it was Tyler Anderson.
Yeah,
who only goes 5.
Only 5. Gives up 6 hits and 3 runs. 2 home runs.
So the 2 guys that you expect the most out of, Yusei Kikuchi and Tyler Anderson.
Right, but I feel like, when Anderson was with the Dodgers, he did well, and then he goes to the Angels. I almost feel like he's pitching and he's playing, but I almost feel like he's dropped, like he's kind of in the Rendon. He's reading a book that Rendon.
But he was an All-Star last year.
Yeah, but
he didn't pitch in the All-Star game, but he was an All-Star. He was the Angels. I know,
but there's something off with him.
The fact that his top speed is about 88 is part of it.
That's the big, yeah. In this game, the Angels walked 5 times, and 4 of those runners scored.
Mm-hmm.
So that, I think, is big, because you're using, sometimes you get a walk and then you can't capitalize on that. The hitters coming up after. And so the Angels did a good job of having somebody on base and then bringing them in to score. So that's a nice change.
Yeah. So they're able to pull that out, a Zinnings win, and they've got a 3-game winning streak going. And the next game, guess what? It wasn't a 1-run game, so that streak's broken. But it was
Zinnings.
exactly, and this time it was a 2-run game.
Yeah.
And here's what I saw is that the Angels have a lot of, I don't want to say no-name players, but they just have a lot of youngsters. We know that.
Yeah.
Guys that just have the second or third year in the league. You got some Yohan Moncada, who we were a little worried about, has actually played a great defense. We've seen Tim Anderson show up, and he's played second and short. Kevin Newman's been at short. Rengifo's been at second and third. And then Shanuel's at first. And then this is one thing that I did see last night. And I think I told you about this. Making excuses. Now, I guess Mike Trout has earned people being apologists for him.
Covering. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but he misplayed a ball. He looked like Joe Adell when Joe Adell started off in right field.
But he doesn't know the angles. Come on.
Exactly. I'm sorry. That was a fly ball and it hit off the wall low enough that had he gone to the spot, or even if he was sure he couldn't get to it, had he saw where it wasn't in St. Louis. They got corners that if it hits in the right way, it's going to come back out into right field. It's not going to bounce and come towards first base. It's going to go towards center. Well, they just had to, Gubica was like, well, he's still learning the angles, him and Wayne Rondazzo. And it's like, come on. He completely misplayed that ball. He should have made that catch. And if not, he should have been able to see where it was and go. And Joe Adell was over there to, just like Mike Trout was there for him. I guess Joe Adell's returning the favor and was able to grab the ball because Mike Trout couldn't get back to it in time. And, but come on. Don't, he's been around long enough. If he's as good as he is, then there's no excuses. He just misplayed it.
He misplayed it. And that's it. And that's what they need to say. I mean, I'm sure most of the, if you're watching it, they didn't need to say that, but
no. So the Angels scored 3 in the third, and then the Cardinals would score 3 over 3 different innings, second, fourth, and eighth, and we're tied. Going into this innings, the Angels come out and boom, they get 3 right off the top. Good job. And you're feeling pretty good about that. Or I was like, hey, that's not bad.
Yeah. Yeah. Tied in the 8th, scored 3 in the 10th. I mean, that's good.
Right. And
that's exciting.
Oh, and who was a catalyst in that?
Kyron Perry?
Paris? He was the guy. Kyron Paris.
I said Paris. I don't know. KP?
Tim Anderson, who got on base there and was the ghost runner.
And in this game, you had another quality start, first start for this guy who was with the Cubs forever, Kyle Hendricks.
Yep.
6 innings. He goes 6 innings.
Yep. He overall looked pretty decent. He knows how to pitch compared to Tyler Anderson with lesser stuff.
Yeah.
And then Yohan Moncada with a double that scores Mike Trout, who was intentionally walked, and Kyron Paris. So here you are. You're thinking, right on. This is great.
But people you said are upset with Nolan Shanuel, and I think you're going to tell us why.
It was an error.
It was an error. Yeah, throwing error. Because that was in the 8th. I mean, and the Angels looked like, they're going to win it. But that's when they had the Lars Nootbaar, that's a fun name to say.
It is.
Scored the game-tying run. And but just as we talked about with the Dodgers, Mookie Betts made an error. He made up for it. Nolan Schanuel made an error.
I have to say something. I messed up.
Yeah.
I did the 11th inning before the 10th inning.
Oh,
so let's go back.
We forgot that inning.
The 10th
we glazed over
I knew that the 10th they got 3.
Yeah.
But now I've given it away. They got 3 more.
Yeah.
But Nolan Schanuel goes to get the ball. Pitcher's there, but he throws it past him, basically low and under him is what it worked. Yeah. And that didn't help them. No. Obviously. So he but after that, yes, he made the error. But what and that was on a Nolan Arenado grounder that he messed up. So he comes in, there's the next 3 up, Ryan Helsley, the Cardinals, and he was like the reliever of the year last year, even though he played for a really bad team. He was an all-star. He comes in, shuts down the Angels to take it to that's what got him into the 10th. Well, when the Angels come up, Yoan Moncada walks, and then Nolan Ryan Schanuel says, "I'm sorry," by hitting a triple.
And not only he hits a triple, it's his first career triple.
Right. Most excited you ever seen him. First career triple. And I got a stat about triples when we get to Around Baseball.
All right.
And then so he his triple scores Kyron Paris, who was the I think he went in to run for Moncada. And no, he goes in as the ghost runner for Jorge Soler. And so he's there as the ghost runner. So he scores. Moncada, who had walked, scores. And then Joe Adell singles in Nolan Schanuel. And that's that would be it. Tim Anderson would ground into a double play. But they're up 6-3. Problem is the Angels decided with Garrett McDaniels, who's a new kid on the block, who pitched well previously, but he has a bad inning, walks Mason Wynn, throws a wild pitch that moves the ghost runner, who was Victor Scott, who's a speedster, moves him over to the third. And then, of course, Mason Wynn moves to second. And then Luken Baker. And all they could talk about this whole series was how big Luken Baker is. And he is a big guy. Mm-hmm. He's like, he could be a linebacker. Yeah. Size guy. He doubles, scores both Scott and Mason Wynn. And then there's another pass ball. And then a walk. And then Nolan Arenado hits a ground ball, and that scores the third run. And then the Angels are able to get out of that. Ryan Johnson comes in to replace Garrett McDaniels and gets out of the inning after giving up that single to Nolan Arenado. And that's when we get to that other inning that I talked to you about.
Well, so I think this is interesting stat about Kyle Hendricks. So he got a no decision in this game. And you think about this, the Cubs and the Cardinals are rivals. And he has in his career, he's pitched really well against St. Louis. He is 15-4 with a 2.53 ERA in 29 career appearances against St. Louis. He also owns the lowest ERA against the Cardinals of any player to debut after 1973. And he leads all active pitchers in wins, starts, and innings pitched against St. Louis. So he has their number.
Wow. Yeah.
And the Angels just happened, the offense helped him out with, some miscues. But it was, I think that when it goes 11, into innings and it's back and forth that way, that's a good game.
Yeah, no, these games were tight, and these two teams are very evenly matched.
Yeah.
And, does that bode well for the future for them? Maybe. We'll see how things play out. They both got some young guys. Really it's kind of weird when you look at it because a lot of these guys, a lot of the Cardinals, with the exception of Arenado, are younger guys. They don't have a ton of veterans.
Yeah. And I think Arenado is still a question mark for the Cardinals. I think he's still very much up in the air on what's going to happen to him this season. Well, will he be with the Cardinals for the whole season, or will he be somewhere else?
Well, we'll see. All right. So we go to the final game. It's a day game, getaway game. And Kikuchi back on the mound again. He gets a quality start again.
He does.
6 innings that he goes. And then Ian Anderson relieved him, and Brock Burke were both in the game. But Ian Anderson, who pitched the middle game, was he pitched well, but last time, but this time he ends up with a blown save.
Yeah,
coming in the 7th, not good. But the game started off good. Mike Trout with his first home run, and he gets to don what was his idea is this year their home run thing is a fireman's helmet from LA County Fire as a way to pay tribute to LA County after the fires here in January. And he finally gets that, brought his batting average up to 143 on the season. He's only had a couple of hits. He had a hit in the second game as well, was like finally he's doing that, but he's finding his way. A lot of the players, Shanuel's hitting almost 300. Paris is hitting well. He didn't play in the finale of this game, but it was another game where the Angels came out, scored 1. Then the Cardinals tied it up in the 4th. They scored 1. Then the Cardinals went ahead, scored 2. Then the Angels scored 4 and went ahead. And then the Cardinals scored 2. So at this point, we're tied in the 7th inning. Once again, we're 5-5.
Yeah.
But the wheels on the bus fell off the bus, off the bus, off the bus. Right there in the 8th inning, bottom of the 8th inning. I had watched some of the game up until my lunch was over, and I had looked back to see what the score was, and thanks to Ian Anderson and Brock Burke, who both gave up. Anderson gave up 5 runs. Burke gave up 4 total in the game, and they scored 7 total in that inning. And they would win that game 12-5. So the bookends, they got thumped on the front and thumped at the end.
Yeah, but I think overall, despite Angels Twitter, there are some good things to look at. Starting pitching, the quality starts, the younger players. I think pulling for each other, not just playing for them. I'm not saying that they play for themselves, but yeah, playing for the name on the front of your jersey, not the back of your jersey, a la Tommy Lasorda. As younger players, you got to have each other's backs. And I mean, in all things, but especially the Angels, because last season, it was, it was a minor league operation. And I think that there's some really good things that we're seeing with the Angels. And, will this continue even despite this, the loss, the first loss, and now this loss against the Cardinals? You brush it off and you keep going, but you keep doing the things you're doing, but get those mentors working with those younger kids to work on those throwing errors or throwing or don't throw or, whatever it may be.
Right. They need to continue to polish and sharpen those skills.
Yeah. So I think that this road trip to start the season was I think it's positive for the Angels.
It's definitely it definitely makes you feel better about what is possible for the Angels.
Yeah.
So the Halos head home. They got today off, and then they welcome the Guardians, the 2-4 Guardians. Well, they may not be 2-4 when they get there, but
right.
As of showtime, 2-4. Good guy to have on the mound to start off the series, Jose Soriano, who picked up where he went off last year, pitched well so far. Let's hope if he gets a second quality start.
Now, is something happening in Anaheim? Because they're only playing this one series versus the Guardians. And then they go on the road for 9 games. They go to Tampa Bay, Houston, and then they go to Arlington to the Grill. And I'm like, is there like a concert?
The weird scheduling or something? I don't know. Because concerts and stuff like that aren't normally scheduled until after the baseball schedule comes out, and then they figure that. And the Angels don't typically, they have like one concert, like a country concert, at least once in the season, and maybe one other that's more poppy, but they don't typically, like Dodger Stadium, the Dodgers aren't in town. They might have Elton John or some big,
Well, I just wonder, okay, they have their weekend home opener versus Cleveland. And then I'm looking and it's like, they go on the road and they're like, go away. We don't want you here in Anaheim.
I guess. I don't know what's happening, but
so they have 3 games in Tampa, 3 games in Houston, 3 games and with the Rangers. So.
Right. So yeah, that's kind of weird that happened, but I don't know of anything, but I don't really look at stuff. So
I think there must be something, I don't know. Artie is having some kind of.
He's having a
soiree.
Artie concert soiree. Nice. Nice. Okay.
I don't know. Or it's just weird scheduling.
I think it's just weird scheduling there. Who knows what? I mean, if we at some point we're going to see them have an extended period. So who knows? I'm kind of looking to see if there's anything that's going on there.
I'm just curious. It's just weird.
They don't typically do a lot there at Angel Stadium as far as like outside things. Yeah, the Angels play the last game on the 6th and don't come back till the 18th to take on the Giants.
Yeah. Now, I think once they come home, they're home for a little bit.
Yeah. So kind of get to make up. But yeah, usually you get 2 series in and they're out for 2 and in for 2, but they're having that extra one. So, well, we will see. Anyway, and we didn't do this with the Dodgers. We'll do it next week. But if I had to name a player of the week, I'm going with Kyron Paris.
Oh, yeah.
But I could have, Jose Soriano, honestly, could have been there as well.
Yeah.
So and then forgot Logan O'Hoppe with a grand slam.
Oh, right.
You know, and he's got two homers on the season, and I think I read somewhere that only he and Benji Molina are the only catchers to have grand slams in Angels history.
Yeah.
So, all right, so good start. We'll see what happens from here. And then I just saw the Angels are going to be giving away some kind of a tank top as a giveaway.
Ooh.
And a fanny pack. How do I miss those? I
don't know. I mean, that's the first thing you look at is
fanny packs.
The promotion. Just you look at the promotion schedule. You don't look at anything else.
Yeah. Okay.
Well,
because they never have good ones. I mean, the Dodgers will give away like 20 bobbleheads in a season. The Angels will give away one. Although they are giving away, they have when they come back versus the Giants, they do have one where they're giving away. It's a Star Wars weekend.
Oh.
And they're giving away the Big A Millennium Falcon. And so it's the A.
Yeah.
And then on top of it is the Millennium Falcon at the top of the A.
That's cool.
So, and I kept hearing him talk about it, and I finally saw a picture. I was like, oh, okay, that's all right. Yeah. And then I think they only do a couple of bobbleheads during the season, and one of them will be Mike Trout.
Of course.
But I'm looking through right now, and they are going to give a Ben Joyce bobblehead away.
Oh.
A Nolan Shanuel bobblehead.
Nice.
I'm wondering if there'll be any Zach Neto stretched out and getting the ball there. He's actually looking like they laid him down, but he was kicking his heels together. And then a Logan O'Hoppe bobblehead coming up in August. The Mike Trout obligatory bobblehead coming up in September. And I think they pushed that one to a Monday night in September because conceivably they'll be out of the race by then if things turn.
Yeah.
And or if when they do hit a losing streak, things fall apart. Like I said, nothing's guaranteed. Even the Dodgers will probably not go 162-0.
Yeah,
even though they're on pace.
They're on pace to do
but
that.
The Braves are on pace to go 0-162.
Well, I mean, you also have, the Dodgers are 7-0, but the Padres 6-0.
And we'll talk about that in Around Baseball. Dusted off the bullpen cart, got it all washed and everything ready. It's just been sitting in the shack under a cover, and we got it all set and ready to take us around baseball. As always, we start around baseball with the MLB Players of the Week, and yes, there actually are 2 players, even after just 3 or 4 games. We have Players of the Week. Why don't you start with the NL Player of the Week, and then we can go with the AL Player of the Week into the big talking point of the MLB.
Yeah, it'll be.
And yeah, he's a big guy on top of it.
And it'll be a nice segue. Yeah, the NL Player of the Week, Eugene, as I like to call him, Suarez.
Like his mama. Eugene. Eugenio.
Right.
Suarez.
I'll practice. 4 home runs, 7 RBIs, 1.143 slugging in 4 games. So he was just hitting them out and hitting them everywhere.
Well, here's an interesting hit thing. He has 5 hits on the season up until whatever game today, or the end of this next series that he's in versus the Yankees.
Yeah.
He's got 5 hits and 5 home runs.
Nice.
All of his hits have been yard shots.
Yes. So now,
speaking of the Yankees,
the AL Player of the Week, is none other than Mr. Aaron Judge, who has a slash line of 545, 643, and 1.818, 4 home runs, and 11 RBIs in 3 games. And he is sticking with what he's been doing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Which is, he's keeping his bat.
The Torpedo Bats.
He said, I don't need no torpedo bat. I hit 62 home runs using this old regular bat.
Mm-hmm.
I don't need a torpedo bat. Or, as they can also be called, bowling pin bats.
Yeah, they're not that wide.
They aren't. They're not.
People
that
have like really made them look like they were much.
Yeah.
Like lava lamps.
Yes.
Really thin at the top and then got big at the bottom.
Yes.
They meet all the standards of a regulation bat.
So I have to say, when I heard about these bats, and which everything I've read is like, oh, they're nothing new. Well, I think they are kind of new. Everybody's going crazy talking about them.
Well,
but they've been used.
Technically been around for a while.
Right.
But people just didn't start using them. And I think that the person I heard the most talking about it was Anthony Volpe.
Yeah.
Shortstop for the Yankees. Mm-hmm. And he was talking about, they were looking at, and this made complete sense to me. Where does he hit most of his pitches? On the label of the bat, which is is typically the weakest part of the bat. And so they found out about those torpedo bats and started working for him. And he's still only batting about 200.
Yeah, it's not like he's,
but they started off like really strong, and these bats all of a sudden were like, how can the Yankees be using these bats?
Well, I think that it was because it's the Yankees, it seems illegal. Like, because it's, if it had been, the Astros, that it would definitely be cheating.
Oh, well, if it was them, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, the Astros
or
the Dodgers, it would be. And so I think that was part of it. I mean, you had, what's his name? Rob Portnoy, Barstool or whatever, sports. He went crazy over like they need to have an even playing field and they're using these torpedo bats. And it's like, but it's not, there are a lot of teams, a lot of players using these bats, but they're not hitting home runs every time.
Right. Ellie De La Cruz tried out a bat during batting practice, went into the game, went 4 for 5, had a great game hitting.
I mean, 2 home runs, 7 RBIs.
But what did Tito say? Terry Francona, his manager?
Well, he said, I don't think he was very impressed with the bats. But he also made a comment, I don't know if this is what you're referring to, but he also made the comment about, was it the Yankees torpedo bats or was it the Brewers pitching?
I think that it was probably more the Brewers pitching.
Yeah.
Because even when they went to Kansas City, which they did finally win a game, but they went into Kansas City and the first game out, they got beat like 11-0.
Oh yeah.
So, and the other thing is Nestor Cortez pitches for the Brewers, and I think he pitched against the Yankees.
He did.
So, this guy gave up that monster home run to Freddie Freeman in the World Series. I'm sure that had to play into it. And maybe for Volpe, that bat just felt better, and he was seeing the ball that day because it was the pitching. I don't know but it makes sense to me. If you have all these innovations in pitching, why not innovations with the bat? As long as the bat's not like corked or things like that were always an issue. And as long as they meet the standards,
Well, and
I mean, Roy Hobbs had Wonder Boy.
Right. I mean, so the maximum diameter of a bat has to be 2.61 inches, but it doesn't say where. That's the biggest part of the bat, 2.61 inches, but it doesn't say where on the bat.
Right. As long as it's within the regulations, then what's the problem? And not everybody's going to hit well with it. Like, Aaron Judge, he's always hit well with regular bats. So why, any of these things?
Change it? Well, and
give it a shot. If it works for you, great. But there's nothing wrong with it, I don't think.
No, I think at the beginning when you first started hearing these torpedo bats, and the Yankees hit 15 home runs in their opening series versus the Brewers, they scored 36 runs. And I think that's like, whoa, these bats, they're magic. And then you're also like, oh, wait. Who used these torpedo bats? Oh, the Yankees? Oh, something's going on. There's something seedy.
Right.
And I think, but there's not. I
they're
mean,
available to anybody.
Yeah, you can go on any bat. I mean, Louisville Slugger, you can buy a torpedo bat from Louisville Slugger. And Kike Hernandez, he's ordered some because that's what all the cool kids are doing. That's what he said.
Well, and he's a cool kid usually, so.
But I think it's interesting. I mean, this guy, Aaron Leanhart, who's a MIT physicist, but now he's a Miami Marlins field coordinator. Before that, he worked for the Yankees in the minor leagues as a hitting coordinator. Mm-hmm. And the guys were always talking about bats and the different, how could you make this bat or, turn it upside down, whatever, how can I make it work for me? And so that's what he started playing around with. And he came up with this bat, and he said the bats are designed with more wood concentrated in the area of the bat where the hitters is most likely to hit the ball. And again, this goes back to analytics department. They're watching video. They notice Volpe hits it on the label. Okay, then this is where. So I wonder, are all bats, these torpedo bats, if you have the analytics behind it, are they specially made for that particular player?
Yeah, it's like, certain gloves, shoes, things like that can be made that the player needs, not just to look good on the outside, but have some kind of support that they need inside or,
Yeah.
As long as it meets the requirements, it doesn't exceed or is, then, I mean, pitchers are throwing stuff that, sure, it's all physical, but they've gotten to a point where they're throwing stuff that it doesn't matter unless you went up there with those, remember those plastic bat and ball sets, but the bat was like really wide, like
right,
a tree.
Yeah.
And, we know that's just, funny games with that and little kids kind of bat. But if they're walking up with something like that, that's the issue.
Right.
But in this case, they're not. And they still got to see the ball and hit the ball.
Right.
And we could see that Anthony Volpe, even with the torpedo bat, still doesn't always see and hit the ball very well. Yeah. Regardless.
Yeah. I mean, there's really, it'll be interesting to see as we go through the season. We don't have enough of a sample. The sample size of the players using these bats is really small. So, how many more hits are they getting because they're using these bats? Are their teams winning? Those type of things. Are there more runs in a game because you have players using these bats? That'll be what we'll have to look at as we go through this season.
If everybody who has a bat like that is having an off the chart season, like we used to see in the PED days, right, where all of a sudden somebody who had a bad season now is having the greatest season ever. If everybody that had a bat had a day, every day was like what Ellie De La Cruz had, or every weekend was like opening weekend with the Yankees. I think the Yankees too came in with a chip on their shoulder. They got beat.
Oh,
and they came in saying, "Hey, we're starting off strong, and we're not going to let anybody say, oh, look, they're hungover from getting beat by the Dodgers." They came in saying to try to prove a point. We're not as bad as everybody thought we were. And,
Yeah.
I think there's things like that. Plus, it's the beginning of the season. You never know. Teams that are great start bad. Teams that are bad start great. I mean, we kind of talked about that with the Angels and the White Sox.
Yeah.
Both of these teams were bad. As far as we can see, neither one really improved overall. But what's happening at the beginning of the season? And then how long does it go? And just so you know, I mean, the torpedo bat thing kind of is already dying out. For two reasons, because everybody knows they're legal.
Yeah.
And number two, the Dodgers are undefeated. And so they're cheating.
Right.
They spent money and they deferred money and they need a salary cap. I remembered. And, all of that.
They're cheaters. They're ruining baseball.
They are. All off season was so contentious with the Dodgers are ruining baseball. And then it became the torpedo bats. And then, the Yankees players, Aaron Boone being upset. I don't know if he was upset, but happened to call out during spring training how the Dodgers in the off season, Dodgers players going on Mookie Betts podcast and just saying, yeah, we were the better team. Kike, the minute that Fat Joe came out, we knew we won. Well, maybe so. Maybe that's the feeling. And you know what? Everybody who watched after Fat Joe's performance said even the stadium was like, we lost.
Yeah, but
because they just didn't feel it.
Yeah, because you had Ice Cube and New York gives you Fat Joe. There's no comparison. And plus, things are said, after the World Series parade, there was quite a bit of drinking going on that bus. And I'm not saying anyone was buzzed or anything like that, but you're in front of your crowd, you're on a high. But I think he was right. I think they knew once Fat Joe came out.
He had that. And then what's his name? Who's not even a Dodger anymore. The pitcher went on the podcast and he said stuff and they're like, yeah, and he said that. It's like, well, he's not even on the team anymore. Who cares?
Yeah.
And if you guys are so worried about that and so upset about it, play better.
Well, yeah, exactly. And Aaron Boone shouldn't be upset. He put Nestor Cortez in there and gave us that awesome moment of Freddie Freeman hitting.
Which will be a bobblehead at Dodger Stadium coming up, I think, next week. Soon, the 11th, I think.
Yeah, so, the Yankees. And then the players were on the Mookie Betts podcast. I also want to say that was after they were all sitting there around the couch. Again, they had a barbecue. They were all
imbibing.
And, they're just talking about this is what happened. And in that fifth inning, this is what, that's what happened. And the Yankees have to look at it and say, yeah, we screwed up. Garrett Cole can't say, oh yeah, what he did when he didn't, cover first, you made a mistake. You got to own it, and you can't be upset about it.
And Rizzo.
Where is Rizzo?
He's not playing anywhere yet.
Yeah, which is crazy, right? Anthony Rizzo not playing.
Didn't hustle to first.
He did, and they're like, nope.
Not gonna do it.
Nope. He could go to Colorado, hang out with his
and he could go with former Angel Mickey Moniak.
Yeah.
And it was kind of weird because I was thinking when I saw that somebody mentioned that Mickey Moniak in his first at bat hit a home run for the Rockies, and it looked like he was in a AAA stadium. And then I realized he was because they were playing the Rays.
Oh.
And I forgot that they're playing at Steinbrenner Stadium there in whatever city that is.
Yeah, because their stadium
outside
was
of Tampa.
Torn apart.
It's just the beginning. It's too early to be.
And when did the Dodgers and the Yankees play this season? That'll be.
I think I mentioned when I saw the things out last that they kind of play in reverse fashion. They play like the Yankees, and then they play the Mets, and then they play the Dregs.
I think,
and of course, right now, so the Dodgers are 7-0, the Dregs are 6-0. And you got it's probably the Dregs fans are probably insufferable right now. I haven't seen anybody on social media, but I'm sure every night. And if the first Dodger loss of the season, especially if the Dregs haven't lost, there will be a gas lamp parade.
Yes, totally. That is going to happen.
So with that, I'll tell you. You were talking about the Tigers when they went undefeated, 1984. The last time that the Padres went undefeated to start the season was their World Series year of 1984 when they got beat by the Tigers. So the question is, does that mean the Padres are going to find their way to the World Series?
I don't know. I
say no.
Yeah.
Because every year that the Angels have played the Indians Guardians to start the season, and they get beat bad, it reminds me of 2002. I was at that game, the very first game of the season before they started doing everybody on the same day. It was a Sunday night. And went to Anaheim and saw opening night versus the Indians at the time. And the Angels got beat, and then they ended up going to the World Series and winning.
Yeah.
Yeah, that hasn't happened since.
No.
Even though they've gotten beat badly in the first game of the series and by the Indians or the Guardians now. Yeah. The last time they won an opening day game, which I missed when we were talking about it because you had mentioned they lost 11 of 12.
Yeah.
And they're 26-39 in history opening day games. But the last time they won was versus the White Sox. They won 4-1 back in 2022. That's the only one in the last 12 years that they've won. And then so the Dregs start off huge. Another interesting stat that I found so far this season, 13 triples have been hit.
Wow.
That's like the rarest of hits.
Yeah.
That's as of the 1st of April. So any today would add on to that. But more interesting, 5 of those have been by catchers. The slowest guy on the field normally.
Yeah, hitting triples.
Unless Panda's.
Yeah.
He and Jake Rogers from Detroit. He hit one. JT Realmuto. I mean, it's crazy when you look at that. These catchers. My concern is when the catchers are running like that for a triple or maybe an inside the park home run, that they're going to pull a hamstring and end up on the wheel.
All right. On the wheel of IL, Jordan Montgomery of the Diamondbacks will have Tommy John surgery. And the Braves, Ronaldo Lopez is going to be having arthroscopic surgery on his right shoulder.
Eugenio, arthroscopic. You know what? It makes me wonder, what is the Diamondbacks owner saying? Because he said it was a mistake signing him in the first place.
That's right.
Thought maybe this year, because he'd have a full spring training and everything that he didn't have last year. He even left Scott Boras because of the way it was all handled.
Yeah.
And maybe that was what happened last year. He ends up tearing things up because he didn't have a full spring training.
It's very possible.
But Blake is okay.
Blake is okay. That's right.
Ronald
Ronald Acuna Jr. We know he had out with his knee, but he hasn't been cleared yet to do outfield work or cutting drills as of yet, so he's still on the IL.
Then he has to relearn all the angles and,
everything. Orioles' Gunnar Henderson has an intercostal strain. Colton Cowser is out 6 to 8 weeks with a fractured left thumb. Lucas Giolito of the Red Sox and is out on the 15-day IL with a hamstring. Liam Hendricks is on the 15-day IL with this elbow issues. Gleyber Torres of the Tigers has a left oblique strain.
Oblique, oh my side. Oh my side.
Freddie Freeman.
Ow. Had a shower mishap, I heard.
Had a shower mishap. He played with that ankle where he twisted it, but I think he did more than that. Had surgery on the off season and had a shower mishap, and his ankle started to swell. So he's not on the IL, but he is listed as day-to-day. They're being cautious with him, which totally understand.
It's too early in the season to be, he was a trooper. He played through the playoffs as much as he could, and had probably the cinematic moment of the World Series
and MVP World Series of the World Series.
But I'm saying that one.
Oh no, the one. That's it.
That one thing. It doesn't matter.
I have an ornament now, a Christmas ornament on my tree that will be on my tree every year with that pose.
And that will be a bobblehead soon. And I won't be going because I'm sure the tickets for that game are big, like the Ohtani games.
That and you'll probably have to get in line, at 8:00 in the morning or whatever time. Right. I don't know if it'll be as Ohtani bobbleheads are always like that, but
I think it's going to be one of those that has a similar. It may not be Ohtani-ish as far as that, but it's going to come high.
It's going to be high. Mets' Sean Manaea has a strained right oblique.
Oh my God, a right oblique? How did that happen?
And
how come we've never had
and a right?
We've never talked about which side. We just say oblique injury.
I know, but this season, I am throwing it in there.
The left, I was moving to the right. Oh, my oblique. I was moving to the left. I was moving to the right. Oh, my oblique. You know what? That kind of reminds me of like old 50s movies, like an Elvis thing.
Yeah.
Or something like that. Or we were twisting tonight. Oh, oblique away. Something like that, I guess. I don't know. Let's see how that goes. That's a whole something new for season 6.
That's right. Giancarlo Stanton is on the IL. I'm not sure what is going on with him. Elbows, calf. I think he's just his whole body is given up. And he says it has nothing to do with torpedo bats. So I don't know if San Diego has put Yu Darvish on the 15-day IL with elbow strain. Seattle starting pitcher George Kirby is on the 15-day IL with a shoulder injury. The Rangers just put Josh Young on the 10-day IL with a neck strain. And Dalton Varsho of the Blue Jays with a shoulder injury on the 10-day. And this, I totally saw in my crystal ball. Max Scherzer on the 15-day IL with a thumb injury.
Well, I would have thought a tired arm.
Well, it's starting in the thumb, and it's going to
work its way
up. Now, I want, it may only be this episode, but I have the wheel of contract extensions.
Woo!
It doesn't quite have the same ring.
I'm getting more money.
The reason I bring this up is
getting more money.
It seemed like my phone every time. It was like bing, bing, and it was always a contract extension. Padres signed Jackson Merrill to 9-year extension, $135 million.
Mm-hmm.
Garrett Crochet and the Red Sox agreed to a 6-year extension, $170 million.
Mm-hmm.
The Red Sox have also signed their prospect Christian Campbell to an 8-year contract, $60 million. He's scheduled to make his MLB debut sometime this season. The Mariners have signed Cal Raleigh to a 6-year extension worth $105 million.
How about that?
Blue Jays have extended Alejandro Kirk for 5 years for $58 million. The Diamondbacks have extended pitcher Brad Bott 5 years, $45 million. And they also extended Ketel Marte $116.5 million.
That one makes a lot of sense. He was in the top of the MVP voting, even though he wasn't close to Shohei. But
this is not an extension, but this is something I think we'll watch. The Blue Jays have made a new offer to Vladdy Jr. Don't know the specifics. Vladdy wants at least 14 years and $500 million. The Blue Jays, I think, were at the $500 million, not, and maybe more, a little more than 14, not quite sure, but lots of deferrals, lots of other things within it, which brought the average down to like 400 million. And Vladdy was like, no, I don't like that. So we'll see if they can get the right number, and if he stays in Toronto, or will he be moving on to somewhere else?
Well, there's a lot of Angel fans who are hoping that Dad's connection with Artie signed, one of the few great signings of Artie's time. He's made so many bad ones, but there's that hope that, and people are like, I don't care. We need something like Junior. We need that, just that whole vibe.
Yeah.
With Junior, something fun, not what we have. And,
right.
I don't care if you got to spend $500+ million and that he goes down as the worst signing ever. We need, if he becomes Rendon, they were like, we don't care. But you know what I'm thinking too? While I watched Arenado play, a lot of people don't want him because he's older. He's not the Arenado that he was.
Right.
But he's playing, he's contributing, he's still great there.
Oh yeah.
How do you not go after him? I know part of it's probably the Cardinals are probably making it hard. But if I'm Artie Moreno, I'm going to go sign him and bring him or trade for him, have Perry go get him. And at that point, you have a more solid, a Gold Glover, a Platinum Glover in his career, and a better bat than you'd have otherwise. So, I'm just not sure, where the hang up is there. I get the Dodgers don't need him, but a team like the Angels could certainly use him.
I think it would be a better, an upgrade to the third baseman that was there. Lance Lynn has retired. He's done. He didn't have any. Cubs were, I guess, kind of a suitor in the offseason. He wasn't playing. His wife has a podcast, and he, I guess, is on it quite frequently. Probably will be more so now. And he said, I'm done. I'm retired as of today. So, well, no more Lance Lynn. And this one really was sad for me. Or maybe happy. I don't know.
Okay.
Fan favorite of all baseball fans, Jurickson Profar, suspended 80 days for PEDs.
How will baseball ever recover from the first half season loss of Jurickson Profar?
I don't know. I don't know how we'll be able to move on. And I think maybe, the Braves are obviously mourning that with where they are.
Yeah,
Maybe that's
obviously. I mean, they're 0-6.
right. I mean, he said that he would never knowingly take steroids,
Heard that before.
but he did. I haven't heard that he got a haircut, which resulted in ringworm, which was Fernando Tatis Jr. But that could come out later. He did own it, say, I would never take this, but I'm suspended. I'm sorry. And he's out for 80 days. And I don't think there's anyone in Atlanta that thinks he's their fan favorite.
No, I think that that it's all about Ronald Acuna Jr. and then what's his name, Strider, whenever he comes back.
Right, Spencer
Strider. So yeah, I don't see anybody out there wearing something that's Jerks and Profari like they wear the mustaches.
Right.
For Spencer Strider, Ronald Acuna Jr. Is definitely even if hurt and can't play. Still, Ronald Acuna Jr. could quit baseball, and he'd still be more popular than Jerks and Profar.
Yes, I totally agree. But he's out, so we don't have to. I when he was with the Padres, he was very much a, I guess, crybaby, and then he played for the Rockies, I think, for a season, and he was very low key. And so I was wondering, would that be the same with the Braves? But with his comment of being a fan favorite, I think not.
He's holding on to yesterday, is what he's doing when he was with the Dregs. And look at where the Dregs are.
Yeah,
they're 6-0 without him. 0-6 with him. 6-0 without him.
Yeah.
I think that says a lot right there. All right. Well, we got a long season ahead of us. As always, we will be checking in on Thursdays here. And I think starting up here pretty soon, because I did see some previews of some new City Connects.
Yeah, some new City Connects. And we'll also talk about some minor league teams that will have kind of their own. It's not called City Connects, but it's very similar. And I saw the one for the Isotopes. Oh, so cool. So the minors are getting involved too.
All right. So we'll get a little MILB action, and we'll get, who knows what's going to happen. All we know is nothing is guaranteed. All right, we're parking the bullpen cart once again, starting off season number 6, full season ahead. We're happy to be talking about baseball again. It's always weird. It feels like it's never coming back. And then once it comes back, it's like it was never gone.
Yeah, that's so true.
All right. Don't forget you can find us online on our social media pages, on Twitter at Sibling Rivalry BB without the A.
And on Instagram and Facebook at Sibling Rivalry BB with the A.
You can also find on our website, siblingrivalrybb.com. And you can hit the Fanatics link there and get all the new stuff, including the Gold Series Dodger jerseys. I don't like the jerseys, but I do like the gold on the hat. I like the gold LA.
Yeah, that looked cool.
So all of that's available to you through our website, siblingrivalrybb.com. So until next week, watch some baseball, and don't forget to swing away.